Good morning. I know that a lot of you want to get back on our mini truck. Believe me, I do too. I also know that some of you want to get back to work on the hot rod. I also want to. I also want to get to work on another project that I've been hinting at that's not here yet. I have too many projects. And we all know when you have too many projects, it's hard to finish one. But here's the thing, guys. I enjoy the build. That's why I do it. That's why we're here on YouTube. Subscribe. None of that matters today because we're not going to work on anything that's here. We're going to work on something that's not here. They gone. We got these outer rocker panels here. They're not like super expensive, perfectly fit rockers. They're more of a patch panel, really. Now I'm going to start with a Scotch-Brite pad on the insides of these with some isopropyl alcohol. I want to scuff up the insides of these and I want to coat them with something so this doesn't happen again. We don't want just the bare metal hanging out in there. Scuff, scuff, scuff. I am going to use a direct to metal etching primer, but these need to get cleaned up regardless. You can see all this crap coming off. We got to get rid of all of that before we put any sort of product on this. We might as well do it with a scuff pad and help the adhesion process with a more of a mechanical bond. You wouldn't want to use one of these on the outsides of these before primer paint or anything. You want to use something that's not going to leave any sort of lint or anything behind. But this is the inside of these, and it's okay. Okay? That right there, that's what we needed to get off of there. Paint, primer, whatever. It ain't going to stick to that. So on the insides of these, like I said, I'm using a direct metal etching primer. Just this. Oh hey, got some artwork left on the website, garagetime.store. Adding some more t-shirts too. These things just rotted away when we were down in Florida. We were so close to the water, salt in the air, but I think it's really because it started here in Wisconsin before we moved down there. And we didn't even know they were this bad until we were on the way back to Wisconsin and we left most of the rocker in the parking lot in Tennessee. The inner rocker over here, it doesn't look all that great either. I mean, it's not totally gone. I'm just kind of throwing it up there, test fitting it, coming up with a plan. So I got these rockers for a crew cab. So they're a bit long, but that's all right. We just cut it shorter. I'm hoping that rot doesn't go too much into this corner because I don't want to remake that. Pull out the grinder and find out. There's body filler in there. Well, I don't like that much. All right, well, I'm gonna hang some blankets over these doors so we don't make too big of a mess on the inside of the truck. So I think the plan to start would be cut all this old stuff off to about here, maybe up on top here in the sill, except that would be more body work there. So if we can keep it down here, that'd be awesome. It just all kind of depends on how far up this rot goes. And then at that point, we can start fitting that new one in. We are going to cut it a little bit too long so that way we can trim it down to size, you know what I'm saying? Sneak up on it. So in here it's going to get a little more difficult because we got to go around the cab corner. So I'll start just by making some reference marks, I guess. Actually, something like that would probably work. Yeah, we'll start with that. Again, I think I'm going to cut it a little big so we can trim it. It's a whole lot better to trim more off than try to weld a gap or put more metal in it. Starting to think maybe we should just buy a new truck. But even if that were to happen, this will at least look better for the next guy. I made a mark here, and that's where it starts to gradually go up. I'm going to take this and trim it like that. Trimmed it to our lines, cut a slit down there so we can lift up on it. I'm gonna cut it right there. just trimming little by little until this fits the way I'm happy with it. I got a couple of clamps on here. 1, 2. So I think that's gonna fit about where I want it. Now I just need to trim the top here where I want to weld it. I'm not sure quite where I want to do that yet. We could scribe a line there and do a weld here. We could cut it there, weld it there. Try to minimize body work here. So I decided I was gonna trim it right at the corner. I already trimmed it out here. So this new rocker panel and that old one will butt up like that. Put a weld on the top. Whether or not that's the best way to do it, I don't know. But we're gonna do it. Looking like it's gonna work. You know what? No matter how this turns out, it's gonna look better than it did. I'm gonna grind this down a little bit so we can get a tack in some spots here. A cutoff wheel is not a grinder. Do what I say, not as I do. Actually, I'm gonna do it right. Getting one of these in the face, probably not good. Probably getting a little carried away here, but just kind of getting after it, stacking tacks. I'm moving around, I'm not concentrating in one spot too long. Ah, in my nose? Ow! So when I'm doing these tacks, I'm starting on the new panel and kind of dragging it into the original one. Seems to be working awfully well. We're gonna work on the tan on this side now. Alright, I was working on my tan, switched over to my glove technique, broke down and put on the helmet. Golly. Is that thunder? Oh, I hope not. There it is again. I've had enough rain, I'm telling you. Actually, I don't know if that's body work or not. I mean, it kind of looks like it, but it might just be that rocker guard. It sure looks like somebody did some body work over some crap though. Anyway, I had to recreate this little corner here. I just took a piece of this scrap. No big deal. I might be getting rained on. All right, I did not want to get rained on, and I got to a good point where that's all welded up. So what I did is I took that etching primer and just went over it quick so it doesn't flash rust, because it's gonna rain. All right, where did we leave off yesterday? Oh yeah, rain. Definitely glad I sprayed that with that etching primer, because when I say it rained, it rained. We were actually in a movie theater when it was really coming down, and it was dripping on the seat in front of us. You know, one of the nice heated leather recliners. Lindsay went up to tell somebody. The kid up there was just like, well, is it dripping on anybody? Anyway, plan for right now is to grind and clean up them welds a little bit and get it in an epoxy primer. We're gonna start with a brand new flap disc. I should just go right to a die grinder, but we're gonna take the high ones down, the high welds, we're gonna knock them down with the flap disc. If it's brand new, it'll make quick work of it. It won't heat it up too much. And there's lots of curves, lots of corners, lots of breaks. I'm not worried about it warping or anything. And then after we knock down the big ones, we'll move on to the die grinder. It's like 36 grit, then 80 on a DA, then 180. We'll clean it up. We'll spray it with some epoxy primer. And then there's more stuff after that. It's really hard to get something in there to grind at. So I am protecting the edge of that door as much as I can. Down this rocker, trying to keep this as flat as I can and true to that corner. That's all buzzed down with 80 grit. Now we're gonna go over it again with 180, because we can prime over 180. We're going to back mask it up to that corner edge. And put the paper on like so. And go up with it. We'll use a nice round edge. So that primer will mist into there. rather than leaving a hard edge, making it much easier to sand. With this red scuff pad, I'm just stuffing it up towards the paper line, tape line, whatever, so that primer will stick all the way up to that. We got that thing taped up like we're shooting it with a gun. We are not. Huh? Yeah, you heard me. You can do this at home without a big air compressor and a gun or knowing how to use it. You can get epoxy primer, poly primer, paint, all 2-part in a rattle can. It's got the activator in the bottom. You just pop it open. It releases it into the paint. You shake it up. Same thing as a gun. A bit more expensive, but if you're only doing one little job, I mean, it's pretty handy. And since I got the air compressor working, but it's not really plumbed up the way I want it, so I'm a little worried about it creating too much water in a gun, I'm gonna do it this way. Besides that, it might be a little more relatable to a lot of you guys. We've actually used this stuff on the channel quite often. Keep the button in the cap, you just pop it out, put it in the bottom of the can, and press it in there. You hear it pop and it releases into the primer, and give it a good shaking. Now this is epoxy primer. It's gonna seal that bare metal. And that's why we're doing it before we're doing the body work, because you can actually do the body work over the top of this. The other reason is because it's supposed to rain again, and I want to get that sealed up. Because, to be honest with you, this truck really needs inner rockers. It needs cab corners more than that. They're pretty thin. So I'm not super concerned about it being done the right way. I'd just do a little bit of body work over this bare metal and it would have been fine. But technically, this is the way you should do it. Metal work, epoxy, body work, poly primer, paint, clear, blah, blah, blah. We'll let that hang out for a while and do a second coat. Then that's got to sit for like 24 hours before we can do body work on it. So we'll do that, and we'll prime it, and we'll paint it. And I got clear chip guard. And really the only reason that I want to do this is because the factory had it on there, and if it's not on the new rocker and then the bed has it, it might look silly. Better just go ahead and match it. I'll put a link to all this stuff in the description of this video. That is all welded in, primed. Is it done 100% correctly? No, it is not. That truck could really use some inner rockers and cab corners, and we're just not going that far with it. But the last thing I wanted was for anybody to cut their leg wide open on a rusty, half-missing rocker panel. And did we accomplish preventing that? Yes, we did. The plan for today was to bodywork it, prime it, paint it tomorrow. But you know what? We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna call this a video. Thanks for hanging out. Subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it. GarageTime.store for t-shirts, pinstripe art, and pretty soon, hats. Later, guys.